Okay, so for this section you should have downloaded the extract from Paddy Clark, ha ha ha, which we have looked at previously. This time though we are going to look at analysing relationships between characters in this story. So we're going to follow the model we've looked at in the PowerPoint. So first off we're going to look at actions, and we're going to have a look at what that could possibly tell us about the relationships between these boys and between society as a whole. So from the first off, you've got this one boy, Kevin, stopping at a gate and bashing it with his stick. And we've got this Mrs. Quigley character, and we're told that she was always looking out the window but never did anything. So instantly here we get this idea that, well, it tells us that maybe these boys, well, their relationship with this Mrs. Quigley is clearly not that great, really. They sort of terrorise her a bit, really. They bang on her gate. They probably do other things as well. And she's always looking out a window, never doing anything or saying anything to them. So there might be an element of fear here. She might not want to go out and confront them. What other actions have we got here that we can analyse? Well, Liam and Aidan turned down their cul-de-sac. We said nothing, they said nothing. Liam and Aidan had a dead mother. Mrs. O'Connell was her name. So it's possible from this, one of the things we might infer from this is that in this particular little group, Liam and Aidan, for whatever reason, might be not towards the centre of the group. They might not be the best people in the group. They might be sort of hangers-on, really. Okay, so we're going to continue by analysing actions in the first part. So the other action that we can see here, and the boy's reaction to it, is of course the youngest boy, Liam, whose mother had died, dirtying his trousers at school one day, and what the headmaster did about it. You remember from the last section we did look at this in a bit, we did look at this in a bit of detail, and again we're going to refer back to this because obviously what's happening here is, even though the narrator, who's a small boy, doesn't fully understand everything that's happened, it is telling us something about the relationship between the different characters in the book. Especially when you look at the conversation afterwards, which we'll look at. But this could be, for example, part of the reason why they're not a central part of the group, that they're sort of almost ostracised and pushed to the side. They're different. Their mother's died, they have been treated differently at school, so they may not be fully members of this little group. The relationship between Liam and Kevin and the rest of, Liam and Aidan and the rest of the boys might be a little bit strained. Okay, so I've had a look at some of the actions here. Oh no, there's one more. No, we're not going to look at that yet, actually. We're just going to look at the starting bit, actually, thinking about it. So we'll have a look at the dialogue now. So the first dialogue that comes out is this bit where they're saying, quickly, 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 quickly. So they are basically teasing this poor old woman who's obviously a bit scared of them, because we've already looked at the action. So yeah, they're teasing her, as boys do. They're sort of trying to provoke a response from her, and we could infer from this that maybe they are sort of, well, they're young boys, they're sort of testing the limits of what they can realistically get away with. And obviously with this Miss Quigley, they can get away with a fair bit, which is why they're bashing on her gate with a stick, why they're teasing her. So that might allow us to infer something about these boys. Maybe they don't have the best parents, maybe their parents aren't really controlling them properly. But their relationship between their little group and the outside world is one that's a bit strained. They're finding their limits. The other bit of dialogue here is where they're talking about having a dead ma. And the narrator is saying, it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? I said. Yeah, said Kevin, cool. So they're talking about having a dead ma here. So again, this tells us a bit about the relationship between the boys. Because obviously this Kevin character's agreeing with the narrator, is saying, yeah, it'd be cool. We don't get any sense really that, we don't know from this whether Kevin really does think it's cool or whether he's just agreeing with the narrator, which could indicate how powerful the narrator is in that group. Whether Kevin's a bit of a yes man really, he sort of wants to be part of the gang. These are all things you could realistically speculate on if you're asked about relationships between characters. Now, Word choice will be the next one we're looking at. Well, that use of slang there, if I did a gick in me pants, what we're seeing here is we're seeing slang, and we're also seeing a sort of particular dialect come out. And again, we're seeing it here. It's not fair, so it's not. These are sort of dialects you'd associate with like Irish speech. The name should give it a bit of a clue as well, you know. So these are young boys, they're using slang, they're probably trying to look cool to their mates. The word choice itself, there are other things as well. I mean, the fact that we just have that short "we were coming down the road," our road, that use of the word "our" there, sort of indicating ownership. So they clearly sort of feel that this is their territory. That's something to highlight, if I can highlight it, which I can't apparently. There are other elements of word choice here as well. I mean, the fact as well that he goes straight from Sinbad, my little brother started crying, he doesn't really mention that again, is quite interesting. Now, the other difference here is between first and third person. This is told from first person point of view. However, it's unusual in first person point of view because even though it's told from the first person point of view, we don't really get much of a sense of what the narrator's thinking. We only really get a sense of action and dialogue between the two. So it's very much left up to us to analyse what the narrator might be thinking. From this section here, where he's sort of talking about it, he's narrating it, he's saying, we were talking about having a dead ma, someone started crying, and he just gives us this very factual account. So our view into the head of this young boy is that he's just giving us the facts. He's not really speculating much, he's not really thinking much about what this might mean about this kid's dirt in his trousers and then not getting into trouble about it with the headmaster. So that sort of leaves it up to us to sort of maybe think, well, he probably doesn't really understand everything that's going on here because he's, you know, clearly quite young. So his relationship with the school, his relationship with adults is sort of marred by that lack of understanding. He doesn't really get it, and of course that will come with age, I should imagine. So that is how you can start to analyse relationships between characters and between wider society, looking at actions first, then dialogue, then word choice, and then whether it's first or third person, and what that tells us about it.